Hello everybody, it's Jen Scrapbena Creations. Welcome back to another design team project for Not Too Shabby. Today I'm using the new Get Well Before and Afters by Fawn, which is super cute. I'm also bringing in an older stamp called Fintastic Friends by Fawn as well to create this little aquarium scene card. So I've gone ahead and taken the images that I want to use and I've stamped them out on some masking paper. This is going to help me figure out where I want to place my stamps to create my scene. So I want to make sure when I'm creating the scene that the images that I want in the front I stamp first. So because I want this little band-aid on the turtle, I'm going to go ahead and stamp that up first. Then I'm going to mask it, and then I'm going to bring in the next image that I want to use, which is the turtle. So I can go ahead and line up that stamp. I am using my Fawn jet black ink, which I absolutely love for coloring with alcohol markers. I am going to be doing some Copic coloring today. So once I stamp out an image, I'm going to cover it using the masks that I created. So here you can see I do want this aquarium, but I want the little prescription bottle from the Get Well set and the little food bottle from the Fantastic Friends set to be in front of the aquarium. So I need to stamp those out first. So this can be a little bit tricky to try to get placement when you're having to have some of the images off the paper that you're working on. And I am stamping on some premium cardstock by Spectrum Noir. So now I need to fit the aquarium on here, and I'm trying to line it up so the turtle, the back of his shell is kind of in that little indent with the sand or gravel, whatever is at the bottom of the aquarium there. And for some reason that one spot didn't stamp, so I'm going to re-stamp that. And now I have a great impression. I wanted to add some little accessories into the aquarium, so I'm going to use the little sand castle and the little plant there as well, just to kind of fill up that aquarium to make a cute little scene card. Now you can see here I've sort of stamped so that my images are not centered, and that's just because it's sometimes hard, like I said, to figure out where things need to go when you're only using some of the images at the time. So I'm going to try to fix that a little bit later, but right now I just cut out the bottom and the top of the aquarium from some masking paper so that I can fill the aquarium in with some Distress Oxide in Salty Ocean for the water. And I just used one of my makeup brushes that I purchased off of Amazon to do that. And all of the products will be listed below in case you're interested, or you just want to check out some of the products that I'm using more closely. So I wasn't sure what color I wanted to do the background, but I thought the yellow would go nicely against the blue of the water in the aquarium. So I'm just doing a very light shading around our little scene here. And now I'm just going to peel up all the masks, and I love this part where you get to see the image really come to life and all that hard work with masking really pay off. So I have my little scene here now, and I want to create a stand or some sort of shelving that the aquarium is sitting on. So I'm just using a pencil first to mark my line to make sure that's where I want it. And then I'm using my Memento Tuxedo black marker here, which is an alcohol safe marker. And you can use any alcohol safe marker to add in any background details that you want for the card that you're making. So I decided to bring in some Dye Distress Oxide here for the little aquarium stand or shelving that our aquarium is on. I don't love this, but I wasn't really sure what else I wanted to do, and I didn't want to create an elaborate kind of wood grain bottom for this because I really wanted the aquarium to stand out. So I just did a very light coating of that, and now I'm going to go ahead and color my images. So for the sand color, I'm using E35, E33, E53, and E51. And I'm going to go ahead and add my darkest color here to where all the little indents are on the castle, around the windows, around the door, and then I'm going to do my darkest shading along the top side of the sand and then on the sides as well. So I'm going to move through my markers from darkest to lightest. So I use the E35 and the E33. The E33 is my darkest midtone, my lightest midtone is the E53, and then the highlight color is the E51. And this is going to give me a really nice sand color. I like the kind of neutral color of this so that the turtle will really stand out once I start coloring him. So once I get through the coloring of the sand, we're going to move on. And I'm going to start coloring, I believe, my turtle. I think I'm going to color my turtle here next. But just making sure this is really nice and blended. Oh, I'm going to do the Band-Aid because I'm using some of the same colors. So I'm just using the E35, the E53, and the E51. For my turtle, I'm going to do a 3-color blend. So I just laid down my lightest color, which was the YG25, to figure out where I wanted my shading. Now I'm coming in with the darkest G28 and then my midtone, the YG17. So this is going to be a nice bright color for our little turtle here that isn't feeling so well. I think this stamp set is really cute and it lends itself well to adding in older Lawn Fawn stamps to create some really cute scene cards. So now I'm going to come in with some lighter greens. I'm going to use the YG25, which was my lightest color for the shell, and then G24 and G40. And this is just going to add a little bit of difference between the parts of the shell that I want to be a little bit lighter. For the turtle's head, neck, and his legs and tails, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a brighter green, but in lighter tones. So I'm using YG25, YG03, and YG01. That YG01 is really going to brighten this up and make it look nice and light. I wanted to do the pill bottle in orange, as well as the little goldfish on the food bottle. So my darkest is YR07, and then my midtone is YR04, and then I'm bringing in Y38 for that as well. And I decided to color the top of the food container orange as well. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't bringing in too many different colors for this scene card so that our turtle would really stand out. I decided to bring in some yellows for this plant. I just thought that it would bring the yellow from the background that we used into the card a little bit more. Quickly going to color up the little heart on the prescription bottle. And then I'm going to color the food container red as well. And again, this color choice was just so that I wasn't bringing in too many different colors. For the bottom of the aquarium, I actually want it to be quite dark, so it looks like almost an aluminum or a blackish color. And then I'm going to use my cool grays as well, just for some shading on the labels of the bottles and the top of the prescription bottle. I do want those to look white, but of course adding some shading just helps that white pop and makes it look really nice and dimensional. So for the rest of the aquarium, I'm just going to add some shading with my C markers as well. I didn't want it to be a flat white, so I'm coming in very sparingly with the C3, I believe, for this. And now I'm going to blend that out with the C1. And you can see how much dimension this brings to the aquarium once I get this colored up. I will go ahead and blend that out with the C00. And then the coloring for our little aquarium scene here is pretty much done. I did want to darken up this bottom here. I thought it looked a little bit too gray, and like I said, I was going for more of a dark aluminum or black look. So I ended up bringing in the C7 to darken that up, blending that out with the C5, the C3, and the C1. Now I'm just coming in and laying some shadows underneath this. And I'm using, I believe I just used the C3 to do that, and now I'm blending that out with the C1. And then I'm just going to go ahead and further blend that out with the colorless blender marker. So now I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do next with this card. So I decided to go ahead and stamp out my sentiment. So I'm using the Get Well Soon, and I'm going to try to center that over the aquarium. I'm going to use my Versafine Clair ink here, which is, I think I keep saying this in every video, but it is now my favorite black ink to stamp sentiments. You really only need one stamp impression to get a nice clean black image, but I'm so used to doing two that it's kind of habit at this point. I am going to heat emboss this, so I'm using some clear embossing powder over top of that. I'm going to heat that up really quickly. I'm using my craft pick here just to kind of fix where there was some of that embossing powder between the two L's. Get that fixed up, heat emboss that really quickly, and now I thought I would create a frame for this card. So this card is all about saving a card that you don't like. So this is my first attempt at the card, and I thought I would just leave it really clean and simple with this white frame. And I cut out, this is the reversed scalloped window die from Fawn. So I'm just going to trim up that inside panel because I'm trying to center that image as much as possible after kind of stamping it more to the left. So here's where I adhere down this panel to my card base, and then I'm going to pop up, as you saw there, I had some foam adhesive on that frame. So I'm going to pop this up, and there's nothing wrong with this card. I just felt like it was too plain and there was too much white, and I just felt like it needed something different. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this together. I turn off the camera and then I kind of look at it and I'm like, I really don't like this. So here's where I'm just adding some final detailing to the images. Of course, I've grabbed my white Signo gel pen, which I absolutely love for highlights on images, and I'm adding some dots to the sand as well. And this just allows the images to really pop, and I don't know how well it comes across on camera, but in person it's much better. So here's where I decide I don't like this card, and of course that foam adhesive that I use is not going anywhere. So I'm kind of holding my breath here because I spent a lot of time coloring these images and masking them and stamping them. And so I've now cut this piece out, which is not straight at all, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to save this card. I did rip the paper a little bit as well. So this is kind of, you're coming on the journey with me on how to kind of save a card at all costs, because we put so much time into them. You don't want to be throwing stuff away. So for me, it's all about how can I fix something I don't like. So I'm starting by adding some fun foam to the back of this panel here. Once I do that, I decided I needed some paper, so I grabbed out this older Carta Bella 6x6 paper pad called Summer Splash, and there's this pattern paper in there that looks like water. Of course, I got way too much glue on the back of this, but I thought that giving the impression of water with the aquarium might be a nice way to set this scene card. Once I get this down, I do like this, but of course the way I've cut it, it's not straight at all. So I'm going to bring out my old Creative Memories trimmer here. I do have the Tonic Tim Holtz, but I do like this one when I'm trying to just take off the tiniest little bits of paper. And of course it has adhesive on the back, so it's kind of sticking there, but I feel like I'm getting close to getting this straight. So once I do that, I feel like this panel though is too small for the card. There's too much pattern paper showing. So I look at the stamp sets, I looked at kind of what else came in the Get Well Before and After stamp set and the Fintastic Friends, and I see these little fish. So I went ahead and colored them up off screen using the same oranges that I did for the little pill bottle and the food bottle, and I thought, well, maybe I could bring in 3 of these to kind of frame around that panel, and that might add a little bit more interest and kind of fill out the card a little bit more. And this one on the top left here, I also wanted to cover where the paper had ripped a little bit. So now I'm bringing out the sentiment stamp for the inside. I really ended up liking how this card turned out. And the sentiment reads, "I hope you're back on your feet soon." Of course, you know me, I smudged the black ink on the inside, but that's easy to fix up. So now I'm just going to use some of my Nuvo drops in Morning Dew, and I'm going to add some bubbles inside the aquarium. And that just finishes off the card nicely. And I just want to make sure the fish match the other little elements in my card, so I went ahead and added some white gel pen to them. And now I'm going to use my black gel pen to dot their eyes. And you can see how that really brings their eyes out. So there's my card that I saved. I hope you like it. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you really soon in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.